All this stuff I had as a kid, you get it on the surplus stores. I wish I was a kid.
Yeah, I know the same feeling. I did the same thing when I was a kid. All World War II stuff I had as a kid, gone.
The 82nd is out of
Fort Bragg.
Okay.
Fayetteville.
So I was wondering, what is that machine over there with the air pump? Is that?
That is a stove.
Oh, it's a stove. Does it even work, or? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tested it already.
Oh yeah.
Never seen one of these knives before.
The M1918 trench knife.
Yeah.
Very popular, both in World War I and World War II, especially with the paratroopers. I had no purpose. One for cutting peaches.
Fight. Brass knuckles.
Oh yeah. And then that's what it was. Yeah. So knock somebody around with that.
Yeah, you would. Oh, good picture.
What's that?
And what do you say this point was for?
I'll show you in a minute.
Might get some good pictures
Knife.
today.
Yeah.
Brass knuckles.
Skull cracker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So are these the pipes that they showed at the other
they-
demonstration?
Bangalore.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name of them.
So the paratroopers went in on the 5th or the 4th,
They went on the 5th.
just a few hours before, and their main mission.
They were in probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. You had Pathfinders that went in about midnight. Pathfinders went in midnight, and about 45 minutes later to an hour and a half, you had the full division coming in.
And I guess the paratrooper job was just to get behind line works and
Yeah, secure road works. They had about 4 or 5 roads they had that were vital for them to cut off. Line and demo bridges below if needed. So you had guys sitting on a bridge waiting for the Germans to come across. If they did, if they didn't, they secured the bridge, and when the tanks and the vehicles come off the bridge or off the beaches, they had the bridges to cross.
And was it just pretty straightforward? I mean, you just clipped on and you basically jumped, and
Yeah,
it would just pull
you
itself.
hooked up and you check your body. You know, your buddy checks the guy in front of him. The last guy is checked by the jump master, and then out you go.
And is there a backup chute?
You have a reserve, but there's no time to deploy it.
Okay.
If your main doesn't deploy, you're already on the ground.
So what was the flight height?
500 feet.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
You had no time for reserve.
So what was the time period of like 60 seconds or so from jump to?
20, 30 seconds.
Oh, really?
And the time you're at the door, time you hit the ground.
So.
You figure you have about 100 feet of 100 feet to go before your chute pops, and by that you only have about 400 more feet. 400 feet's not that far.
And was there any directional? I know, like
They could steer it
a little bit.
It wasn't anything like we have today, but they could steer enough to turn and then pull and slip forward. That's about all they could do. Turn right, left, and slip forward.
Was it a hard landing? I mean.
Oh yeah, it was a thump.
And did some folks break their legs?
Oh, yeah. Major Vandervert, the 505th XO, he broke his leg on landing. Broke his ankle.
Oh, this is. I told you I thought.
Doing a dinner on June 6th with many D-Day guys and about 200 people. And I was wondering if you could get you, but I need to see with the hotel, your stand, and that would be a pretty big shock to them when they come in.
You need display.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do have an email?
Yes, I have an email.
I would send you an email.
Right here. Comcast.
Oh, okay.
Just send me an email. We have a website too.
We have,
I couldn't remember. I have a question, but then I
got
distracted.
But
So this was the
that is
Bedford boys.
That's them in 1941,
Okay.
Fort,
Yeah. Down
Fort George
Roanoke.
Meade, where they did training before they were actually federalized.
Okay.
That,
Oh, go ahead.
all right, that's the original National Guard before it ended up doubling in size. The company ended up doubling in size during the federalization in North and South Carolina.
And then, so unfortunately, half of these fellows, that's why this is made.
From Roanoke and settled all this. My grandmother's people settled Newcastle. My grandfather, let's see, was my grandmother, her sister, and her brother. They were all married.
Good picture. It's an interesting looking gun. I wonder how much it jammed.
German.
It probably didn't jam then. Do they have any Lugers here?
You ever watched The Longest Day?
Already.
You have any 109 straight to beach. Yeah. You actually watch that.
That sounds good.
It says one any 109.
And if you call the Roanoke time, they have a lot of archive and everything because we did a lot of things.
Okay.
But
Sounds good.
I will send you an email this afternoon.
Please do.
Even
I'll be glad to come.
okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. These are German. That's German. This is actually Russian.
Okay. So is this like a Uzi?
No, MP40.
And this is what you used to see like in the war movies with the
Oh
Germans?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. This is one of their primary weapons right here. That was a submachine gun. They shoots a 9mm.
I mean,
a lot. Yeah, more than 9.
it seems like, I mean, when I look at some of the German stuff, their stuff looks so much flawless. That, like, you know.
German are craftsmen.
Yeah.
German are craftsmen. You can see it in their daggers.
Uh-huh.
And, all their stuff. They've always been really meticulous with everything they build.
It would be a mark here.
Right here.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Right here, if you get that, that's
And
called a
that would
Waffen.
be on the.
That's a Waffen amp. If you look at it real close, it's an eagle and a swastika underneath of it. That's a Nazi-proof mark, basically.
Okay.
And all your original weapons are going to have that mark.
So this isn't original.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is original. This is actually a Luftwaffe model.
And is this what the main, was this like the M1 comparison for the, or
Actually, kind of. This was a very good weapon. This was used throughout the war. A lot of troops used these. This is the other version. This is the mountain troop, or the paratrooper model. You know, it's got the plate on the side, and it's a little bit shorter, a little bit lighter for jumping. The one that compares mostly to the M1 Garand is the G43.
Ooh.
And that was...
So with the Lugers, I mean, are they against the law because they're automatic?
No, they're not automatic.
Oh, they're semi-automatic.
No, they're semi-automatic.
And so, and you just say look for these numbers and just...
Yeah, back to the Luger, make sure it's got a matching numbers, and make sure it has the Waffen amps on it.
Okay.
If you go to those two things, you're fine.
Now the numbers, to look for matching numbers, where will you look?
It's going to be one on the bolt. There's going to be one on the trigger frame. There's going to be one on the slide.
Okay.
There's going to be one on the barrel. All your main components are going to have a number.
But they're all visible.
They're all visible. Right. They're all visible. If you look really close, you'll see numbers everywhere.
And so,
yeah, Russians, they had cheap weapons.
well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
And what was this German down here, you said?
Yes, that's the MG-34.
Oh.
This was used a
I
lot on
never
D-Day.
doubted you, Logan. He knows his weapon.
Thank you. I mean, you know, not that I'd want a Luger, but, you know.
That's a pony farm.
My son, I've decided will always.
It's a German backside. It's a German backside. It was
So it took me a while to get used to some of them.
It's getting way too dark in here. So yeah, I can't see. I don't want to pick up much.
I don't know if Charlie wanted to look at this one.
These are the things that kill some people.
I like this old video.
You don't have that on the show.
This guy.
Wasn't they called a burp gun? We called a burp gun.
Some people over there call it a Hitler's buzzsaw because it would cut trees down.
Yeah.
They've got one of those up at that first tent.
Yep.
So that we named it that because that's what it sounded like. It was burp.
Yep. That was the 42. This was the 34. This time was a little slower. They use this a lot of times for explosive positions because they can fire more.
I'm not quite sure. Michael Milk. Oh, does it say milk? It could be. Could be. I'm not in.
Walther P38. No, they're not loaded.
Wait, I'm not done yet. And then somebody wakes up at 3 in the morning and says, we're going
That's
on
it right there.
patrol.
This is a Luger. Luger was actually more complex to manufacture, and the GIs for some reason loved to get them. They were great souvenirs. But this pistol right here actually shoots better, it's more durable, and I think they've just got rid of it. The Luger's hammerless. Right. Yeah, and this one's actually double action. See the hammer?
This is the bad guy.
About me.
We're talking about the, make sure the numbers match and everything.
We purchased one.
All right, everything. This side plate is a replacement, but if you notice, 47, all of every piece on it
Has to match.
has to match. And see, everything is serial numbered. But if the thing had been in combat, the
U.S. 45th Infantry Division.
if it'd been in combat and never went to the rear, and I'll show you this one. This is a matching number, halfway. The bottom half of the pistol is one whole set of serial numbers. The top half of the pistol is one whole set of serial numbers. There's no import stamps on it. Just this thing went back to a depot somewhere behind the lines, and all they've done is took two pistols and made one.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
if it's
every
original, this part would have matching.
right.
Matching number.
Well, see, this pistol is an original, but it's been repaired, and it was manufactured by Mauser.
Okay.
Okay. But if it was the original, then
Yeah,
numbers would match.
the
on
number
both.
would match all the way. This one may have gotten hit with a piece of shrapnel or something and damaged the slide. And instead of going to all the trouble, they just pulled two pistols apart and slid them together and reissued it.
Are they going to have any Nazi thing on there? A Nazi?
Not a swastika, but
No, this is
eagle
1920. This is in between the wars. This was
Oh.
a police pistol.
Oh, okay. But if it was during the war, it would have a little swastika, maybe.
Right.
That
Well,
eagle.
look at this one
I just didn't know where to look for them.
right there.
Okay.
There's your two little eagle and swastikas.
Okay.
And there's another one on here somewhere. I can't hardly see.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Too dark and too small.
Actually, that right there, that little eagle, that's an inspector's stamp. And if you get the list of inspectors and you get the list of all of the manufacturers, you'll see that inspector move.
Model plane, Paul.
Well, thank you for telling us that.
All right.
Heads up, heads up, heads up.
Where?
That's what they wore in the winter.
This is a choppy day to do that.
They make another version would be 72. It's got 6 more ports on it. That's a whole lot to carry.
Those field phones operations?
Absolutely. Yep. They've got a field phone right there. In fact, if you want to, you can. The way this field phone operates, this is an EE8. This field phone was used up to the 80s. The way this operates is it's got 2 D batteries in it. Your receiver, you just flip the switch here in order to talk on it. What you do is everybody sees on mash, crank it, I think it's the power. That's really a breaker. If you turn that, if you hold this down and turn that crank clockwise, you ready to do that?
much later, I'm sure you've seen newsreels and so on, the medic in a unit is indistinguishable from anybody else. He carries a weapon, which is dealing with people that don't respect their cross either. So he doesn't wear the insignia, but has all the modern first aid gear, much more sophisticated than what's here to treat soldiers who get
what the enemy's up to. So what this table is right here is called a sand table. We do mission rehearsals on here. The guy sits here with a pointer and goes all the way through and tells you what's going on. Okay, so if we're going to turn around, let me show you what's, I'll orient you on this map first and then we'll come back here. Alright, so one of the things that I was working on for you guys, I have aerial photos that are taken, and they scream right on the beach. It's right there. These guys, there's 14 hours a day like this far north of France. So they're laying all these obstacles on the beach that we have pictures of here on the sides. And here's essentially what this looks like. You see this swale right here? And all these little objects you see right here are the obstacles we're going to talk about over here. Now, let me orient you about weather. We have 3 opportunities to land. We have May 27th, we have June 6th, and we have June 19th. And the reason we picked those 3 days is we have low tide and a full moon. We need a full moon for the airborne, the guys in the last tent, to jump out of the plane so that they can assemble properly. And we need a low tide so that the landing craft can land when the obstacles are all exposed. And at those 3 days are the only times where those situations can happen. Now, we have very, very bad weather. We have about a 36-hour window here where the weather just gets from really, really bad to marginal. So what we have is a very strong current moving from west to east at 10 to 12 knots, which is about 6 to 9 miles an hour. And the surf is 3 to 6 feet waves with 4-foot breakers on the beach. Water temperature is going to be around 52 degrees in June, and that handles that. The full moon happens June 6th. The tides, as I said, are critical because in this section of Normandy, the difference between high and low tide is 21 feet. Okay, and then we're going to go back over here and I'll show you why that's important.
Yeah.
Alright, here's low tide and here's high tide. When it is at low tide, you have almost 400 yards of open space, which the Germans have put in a series of belts or bands of obstacles. From the shore to the bluffs, they go as follows. The first you have are what's called Belgian gates. If you guys came in and you saw that big gate that you went through when you got here, it looks like a big gate. That's exactly what that is a facsimile of. These weigh about 2 tons, they're 20 feet wide and 7 feet tall, and they're designed to bounce up and down, and their mass is supposed to tip over boats that are going overhead at high water. After it, you have a series of posts, which you see right there on the right, and these posts have contact mines affixed to the top, so that as the boats go over, the mines hit and blow up the boats. The next is a series of ramps, which you also see over there. They're set up at 40 degrees and they're pointed towards the beach, so that when the boats come up, they're designed to flip them over. After it, we have these things called hedgehogs, which are originally designed by the Czechs to do crowd control for vehicles. The Germans have taken them, put them in concrete bases, and placed them in the sand. There's one right outside the door here for you to look at. They're set up in groups of 25 to 27 here on the beach with these little channels in between to get up to the beach. After it, we have a seawall. This seawall is 6 to 10 feet tall and mixed masonry and wooden construction. Piled against that wall are these stones called shingle. And these stones are about 3 inches in diameter and they're perfectly smooth. They've been polished over years and years of very, very strenuous surf here along this beach. Once you get past that wall, there's this area called a shelf. That's about 80 feet wide, and it goes from it to the base of the bluffs. In that shelf, the French have put a series of summer homes that they go and visit the beach in the summer. The Germans have taken those homes and made them into pillboxes or blocked up all the windows and doors so that nobody can get in. Right after it, there's a mixed row of minefields, both anti-personnel and anti-tank. We get up to the bluffs. These aren't cliffs per se. They're a bluff that's probably about at 40 degrees, and these are 60 to 85 feet tall in this area. At the top, the Germans have a series of observation posts and machine guns. The big one we have is the two main areas that come off the beach. We have two draws called D1 and D3. D1 is in Verville, D3 is in Saint Laurent. As you can see, these are the main exit points to get off the beach for vehicles. The Germans have this heavily mined with a 12-foot wide, 6-foot tall cement barrier that we're going to have to blow to get through. These two nests right here house approximately 60 Germans each, multiple positions of everything from machine guns up to anti-tank guns, designed to fire laterally along the beach. At the top, we have more mixed-use minefields before we get into Verville. Our objective for the day is to clear off here to the west, as you see over here on the left side of the map, a town called Isigny, and to secure the two bridges over the Vire River. And that's our link up with the other elements that are landing on our right flank on the beach, including the 82nd and 101st Airborne. That concludes my briefing. Are there any questions? Okay, the different letters that you see here, these are all boats. This is the landing plan that they hit the beach. They were designed to land at H-5, which is 6:35 in the morning. The first row are these really cool things called duplex drive tanks. It's actually a tank with a canvas screen on it, and they're designed to float in the water. They were supposed to land and hit and take out this wall and these two pillboxes here. Okay. The next is an LCA. These are crewed by British Navy, and the LCAs are nice. We all like them because we actually get in the landing craft on the boat, and then they lower us down in a big crane. These are the ones with the doors that open up like this, and we have armored overhead cover, so they're very, very nice. The V's are LCVPs. These are ones that you've seen that have the ramp that open up in the front, have no cover on the top. Let's see. The A's we already talked about. B's. The D's back there that you see, those are ducks. If you guys have been to the big cities, there's those amphibious trucks that you can take out and they move along the rivers and stuff like that. And then the I's are LCIs. Those are the two that you've seen. They put down the two ladders on either side of the bow and the guys walk off down the ladders. Now what happened here is the guys from Bedford were in these 6 boats right here. The tanks were all swamped because those waves I talked about earlier, they were too tall and a lot of the tanks foundered. Only 2 of these 16 tanks hit the beach. So none of these obstacles were taken out. Specifically, these 3 LCAs landed right on their mark, which was right here. Their job was to get up this draw. They landed, and 32 guys were killed in about 2.5 minutes by a machine gun right here. And that's why the memorial's here in Bedford.
So are these trees, or is that hedgerow?
These are hedgerows.
So
there's an apple orchard right here, but these are essentially the hedgerows.
And were these fairly impenetrable? Or
oh yes. Not really too bad here. About another mile inland, unbelievable. Okay. St. Lo, which is 28 miles farther inland, it took them almost 6 weeks to get there. Because
so you had to have the tanks
to go from here to here, it was taking them an entire day, and that's maybe 100 yards. Because the Germans, this is an excellent point. This is after D-Day, after they've landed. The hedgerows, this area is very, very rocky, and the French farmers over time have taken all those stones that they dig up in their fields and just buried them on the sides of these grids on the outside of their fields. Over time, trees have grown on top of them, so you have, it looks like a big waffle if you're flying over it. And these walls are 3 to 5 feet high and 8 feet wide. And the Germans would put either a mortar or machine gun here that would cover this entire area. So you were fighting essentially for a square for 30 miles. And that's where even more casualties happened than for D-Day. Good question. Anybody else? All right. Thank you for coming. This is the CP tent. The next place you're going to go is you're going to see some communications and some staff stuff.
Thank you. Thanks.
We got an email. His uncle, my dad, were in the same year.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, we were here at Jaw Jack like a couple years ago. We talked about it being cold. We got the story about how we got the holes. We have a stove in here. Not right there.
I've been on TV, radio, I've had it magazines.
Yeah, these things are really awesome. If you can get one that's working, I mean, they're pretty cool. They're heavy.
Okay, don't want to do it. I'm not going to be offended. I've bid on a couple of them. We're just starting this out. It started a couple years ago. So we're lucky to have uniform, all this stuff like
We're
this.
doing all right.
Okay,
Are you in the military?
No. Soon.
Soon? Yeah, watch these. She's going to run them parallel.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you've got that one set up just like Modern Army. Modern Army does like this.
Only one kid at a time, otherwise the things all jam up.
Yeah, you guys look good, man. Well, when you get one, email Steve and tell him I'm John. Kevin, how you doing? Zach. Yeah, I'm the signal guy for the 29. So, do you need help with it or anything? I mean, they're not too complicated once you do it a couple times, but when you first get it, it's like,
I doubt if I get you. This one's already up to like $150 and $75 in shipping. They basically
I'll tell you what I paid for it.
Yeah.
I paid $200 for it.
Yeah. But
yeah, they're nice though. I mean, they're great to have. And they're freaking bulletproof. I mean, I've only had this a couple of years, so you see, getting beat up. But I take it out in the field and everything. I mean, I got about a mile.
the soldiers were in France, they had to carry fresh money. Every soldier got 200
you can't beat it.
It's
really
take this into France. That's soldier station for the English troops. 1 pound, 10 shillings. But as far as I know, because the French got a lot of paper propaganda.
Oh, yeah?
Like I said, that's number one. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Yep. A lot of planning, a lot of men worked on this. These are the operation. I don't know if you heard over there when they were talking about the sand table. It was supposed to go ashore like a train route. Everything was supposed to happen. Well, it all started going up the spout. And basically, the Americans and the British improvised. The heaviest improvisation took place on Omaha Beach because it really got messed up. These are ships.
On the western side of the D1 Grove, they put a huge concrete fortification. The thing is just gigantic. It is still there today because there's not enough TNT in the world to blow it away. They were wild about pouring concrete. On the 60th anniversary of the landings back in 04, there's a bunch of us over here for it. We had a ceremony with the Modern 29 up on the top of that.
Come on in, folks.
No, that's the next station.
8 stations, next 10 down.
Okay, all right.
They are German, but the Germans are only.
Those are copies of the originals that are in the National Archives in Washington, D.C.
So these are the.
These are Neptune was the code name for the seaborne phase of Overlord, getting the troops from England to
which is great because if this far
the coast.
France, they have about 14 hours a day like somebody.
Are these online or anything?
Not to my knowledge. One of our guys is going to try to scan them, but unfortunately some of them are a little faint.
Yeah.
I spent like 3 hours copying page after page after page at 25 cents a page.
These are the British crew boats.
So how long, I mean, did Eisenhower and the Supreme Commanders know when a D-Day was coming?
Well, they had set, the beginning of June, because they had, it was a tidal thing and the weather.
Okay.
Eisenhower and most of the planners wanted to land at low tide, which meant the men had to go across all this open sand to get there.
Okay.
The one man, I understand, that didn't want to do that was the Assistant Divisional Commander of the 29th, General Coda. He said land at high tide. Now the problem with landing at high tide was the Germans had all these obstacles which could conceivably rip the bottom of the landing craft up. So they decided to go in at low tide, and a lot of the men were killed in the crossfire. But it was tide and weather. They originally, I think, were going to go on the 4th and the
Commander Stagg, Wing Commander Stagg, who was the RAF meteorologist, said weather will be too bad. Finally said we're going to have a small window of opportunity the night from midnight on the 5th until the morning of the 6th. And Eisenhower said, okay, it's going to be risky, but let's go.
So it was going to be at least in a June type of, or were they thinking maybe August too?
I understand that they originally were thinking about May, but I'm not sure why they didn't go in May. But then they said, okay, the tides and the moon had to be right, so okay, they said it's going to be the beginning of June based on that. Those factors.
And they wanted full moon or no moon?
I don't know. I think
you think you want blackness for the plains, but maybe full for the parent.
But the Germans actually started picking up some indications there was something going on in the channel around 1 o'clock in the morning. In fact, there was a German, they call them torpedo boats, but they were actually like our destroyer escorts. They alerted the commander of that thing, hey, take 3 of your boats out of the channel, there's something going on. And he sailed at 3 in the morning and went through a smoke screen about 6:30, 7 a.m. and here's the whole fleet.
Yeah.
He launched a spread of torpedoes, and the only thing that got he missed 2 British battleships, but 1 Norwegian destroyer got blown to bits. How are y'all doing today?
Can I look at your typewriter?
Yes, you can. It works too.
I love the typewriter.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh, this is still working.
Yes. Hang on a second. Let me find a scrap piece of paper here.
You guys walked into the last briefing I did?
Now,
you want to hear me talk some more?
You type on a computer, right?